What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Welcome to the Watchtower podcast, the non-Jehovah's Witnesses Watchtower podcast. This is episode 239. The ignorant age. Yes. Yeah, we've been told that we live in the information age, and one of the things that we'll be talking about has to do with Klaus Schwab, Uncle Klaus, and what he said about what did he call it? The intelligent age and whatnot. And ultimately what these things actually mean is we live in the ignorant age where, well, we'll get into it tonight. We're going to talk about that. But if this is your first time here, this is what we do on Tuesdays and Saturdays. We get together and we watch for the signs of the return of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We don't know exactly when he's going to come, but we will know the season. And we're starting to see, not starting, but it's ramping up, but we're in a time where things are really moving quickly in terms of preparation for prophecies and things that we know are going to happen post-rapture into the day of the Lord. We're watching the construction of this Antichrist beast system, whether it's through policy and agenda or through technology or through religious elements and all that. We're starting to see things when it comes to wars that we know that the Bible tells us will unfold in the end, and we're starting to see preparations and things move in that direction. And then we're definitely seeing the mindset of the world right now that is ready for the Antichrist. We're just at the point now where it's everywhere you look. These people are ready for the Antichrist. They are putting their absolute faith and hope in man, even if they deny that they don't worship. They are indeed worshiping these political leaders and industry leaders and so on and so forth. So yeah, we're definitely seeing these things come into play big time. And it's never happened in history. People argue, well, you know, go back to World War II and stuff like that. No, don't even try. Don't even try and tell me that's what's going on with that. So, but yeah, we are definitely seeing these signs coming together right now. And part of that has to do with living in what I call the ignorant age. Some people say information age. Some people say intelligent age. Ultimately, we see technology and the flow of information coming at us, and it has made society stupid. There's really no other way to put it. It has dumbed down society. It has made them truly ignorant, whether it's through choices of their own or whether it's through bad information and a flood of false information coming through. And of course, the play of personal bias always comes into play on that as well. So we're going to kind of go through some stuff. We've got a meeting theme that was released for the upcoming Davos meeting, the WEF Davos meeting, called The Intelligent Age. We're also going to talk about the U.S. government teaming up with with 8 mega tech corporations for AI. We also got some stuff when it comes to controlling information online coming out from the UN. And then Germany, their quote-unquote citizen council came together, and basically they want to criminalize people who post disinformation, lock them up for posting bad information over there. So we got definitely some interesting things to talk about tonight, for sure. All right, let's see what y'all are up to in the chat tonight. Let's see here. We'll start right here. Mama Ro is here. Hello, Zach and dear Rapture buddies. How we doing, Mama Ro? I know Papa Ro is over there in the back as well, so good to see the Rose here. And hopefully you guys are doing great and having a good weekend. Thanks for being here. Now this world is here, doing his best to keep you hooligans wrangled in, so thank you for that. Cocoa Bear is here. If you guys need the pizza, except there's no pineapple pizza allowed, Coco. Get that stuff out of here. Good to see you, Coco. Let's see. We got Nicole Sterling, the doggo. That's such a good doggo. Good to see you, Nicole. Thanks for being here. And hopefully you had a good week and you are recovered from your travels. We got Ebsy from across the pond, and good to see you. Hopefully you and the princess are doing well over there. Glad to see you. Hopefully you got that water problem fixed. Your pipe burst over there. So hopefully that's all good. You're not swimming in your own kitchen. Good to see you. We got Maya and her ducks. Guys, her ducks got arrested. I don't know if you guys saw on my Telegram channel, but those were Maya's ducks. So what are you doing to your ducks over there, Maya? Raising some hooligan ducks. That's for sure. There's a cool t-shirt. Yeah, this is a new design coming to Harpazzo Clothing. I think, is it next week? I think I saw you said, I think it's next week you're going to open it back up. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's coming here soon. So be on the lookout for that. That'll be up. So good to see you. Maya, good to see you. Caterlin is here as well. Good to see you. And hopefully you're doing all right. And yes, Harpazzo confirmed next week. So good. All right. Caterlin, good to see you. Thank you for being here. If you guys need your virtual cookies, go see Caterlin in the back. She's got them cookies. Let's see. We got Sally's here. Good to see you. And hopefully you're doing all right, having a good weekend. Gerard with the devious smile. He's always planning something. Always planning something. Don't know when he's going to strike, but he'll strike eventually. Good to see you, Gerard. Sorry. Joseph Pena. Good to see you, Joseph. Thanks for being here, man. And hopefully you're doing all right. JS 239. I know. I can't believe it's 239 either. Thanks for being here. If you, okay, so besides like, my mom and my dad, because, that's what they do. But if you have been here for all 239 episodes, just raise your hand, because I don't think there's anybody here besides my parents who have done that. So good to see you, JS. What's going on, Asset? Thanks for being here, man. And hopefully you're doing all right. Hopefully you had a good week. And thanks for being here, doing what you do. Definitely appreciate what my tools do for me. So thank you. Pam Lange, one of those. Good to see you, Pam. Thanks for all your beautiful welcomes. Yes, make you feel warm and fuzzy. That's the plan. Jojo, by his grace. Good to see you, Jojo. Thanks for being here. Who else we got? We got Hannah Lore as well. We got Judith Maynor as well. Derek Otto is here. We got Mina Lone. Mina Lone is here as well. Yep, Papa Rose says hi, y'all. So Papa is hanging out in the back. So good to see you. We got Antonio. There's Harpazzo. Good to see you, Tobes. In his image, Katie is here as well. Who else do we got? We got Nancy West, Patricia Schultz as well. Good to see you. And Neardo Andrew. Good to see you. The engineered 5-second. People have the 5-second attention span and the memory of a goldfish. I'll tell you what. We got Rick Whitaker as well. I'm not wearing a sweatshirt, man. It's a little warm for sweatshirts over here. Good to see you, though. Thanks for being here, and appreciate you. One last one. David Carlock, good to see you from Colorado Stan. Well, welcome in, comrade. I guess I could say. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. If I don't pick you out, it's not that I don't like you. It's just we got things to get to tonight, and we don't want to spend all night, doing all the pleasantries and stuff. So let's go ahead and get to some housekeeping.
Housekeeping?
No, thank you. Sleeping.
Housekeeping?
All right, housekeeping, usual spiel. If you guys can, like, share, subscribe, get this out to as many people as you can. It's not about views, not about butts and seats, but it is about getting the warning out to people and getting people to Jesus. That's what we do. That's my goal with what I do with this. Hopefully I can get out there to some people who are lost, have questions, and ultimately need Jesus Christ. And liking, sharing, and subscribing does help reach those people that are out there seeking those things. So if you guys can do me a solid, like, share, subscribe, it does help get out to those people. And then also make sure you guys follow me, Rumble, Odyssey, Telegram. Those are my backup channels. Of course, we are live streaming, multi-streaming to YouTube, Rumble, and the website all at the same time. But if I get booted off YouTube, we'll be back up live streaming over on Rumble. Then we have Odyssey as an emergency, backup platform. It's there just in case, things go really bad. It's just a spare platform. So if you have an account, you might as well follow me there. There's nothing exclusive, anything like that. I don't do any of that junk. It's just there for emergencies. And then Telegram, I post updates, announcements, news, things, and anything in between over there on Telegram. So if you guys can do me, or if you guys want to, you guys can go ahead and follow Telegram, and I post some stuff on there. Like I just posted Maya's ducks in the back of a police car the other day. But either way, I post some good stuff on there. So if you got an account, you might as well follow me Telegram as well. And then we got the official WretchedWatchmen.com website. It is up and running. That's your one-stop shop for all your questions, announcements, and anything like that. If you don't know what's going on, I will make sure that above all that website gets updated so everybody knows what's going on. So if you guys want to keep tabs of everything, make sure you guys bookmark the website. That is the best place to go to find out what's going on that type of stuff. So, all right. And then Tuesday, we're getting into, since we finished up the Psy-War series, I didn't get the bonus stuff out for the Psy-War stuff. I'll get that out next week. I just didn't have the ability, not the ability. I had the ability. I just didn't have the opportunity to put it together. So I'll get that stuff out next week. But we are technically finito with the Cywar series. And so Tuesday, we're entering into some time. I'll start having some more guests on and whatnot. And Tuesday, I'll be having Mondo Gonzalez from Prophecy Watchers on as a guest. And we're going to be going over some pretty interesting stuff. It is titled Genetic Codes of the Days of Noah. And so we kind of we discuss things in Genesis 6, Matthew 24, and Daniel 7. So it's some 7. Is it 7? I think it's 7. And we discuss some stuff when it comes to that. When it comes to Nephilim and genetic engineering, the conspiracy theory stuff, technology with humans and everything like that. So, yeah, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. So make sure you guys tune in on Tuesday for that. So should be a good time. And the last but not least, if you guys would like to support this ministry, to support this channel, what I do, I got donation links down below, CashApp, Venmo, and Give, Send, Go. Yeah, my channel is not monetized. I don't make anything from ads or views or anything like that. Runs solely off of your guys' generous donations. So if you guys would like to help me keep this going and allow me to continue to do what I do, those links are below. And thank you guys for your support and your donations and your prayers and encouragement and everything like that. So can't do this without you guys, and I'm so grateful that you guys allow me to do this. So thank you guys for that. Okay, that's what we got for housekeeping. I could run, but good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and get into what we got going on. Since we are not doing no series, I could find the word. It's up there somewhere. Got the hamster running around and through the filing cabinets trying to find words. But yeah, so you can do questions tonight. Usual thing. Make sure you put questions in all caps so my mods can see that and then they can get it to me. I always appreciate the rebels and the rebellion that some of you guys have, but if you don't get your question answered, well, that's part of being a rebel. Don't follow the rules. So if you guys have some questions, go ahead and do that, and we'll kind of go through some questions along the way. So good stuff. Okay. First up, we're going to go ahead and talk about this. So we're aware of the stuff, the hurricane that just passed through Florida and Georgia and Tennessee and I was going to say North Korea, but I meant North Carolina. Sorry. And we see that just happened. Well, we got a follow-up coming in, and it looks like Milton is going to be coming in. And this one, it could also be a extremely dangerous one. They're saying it could be Cat 2 up to Cat 3. I just like 10 minutes before we started, I heard a couple people who are weather guys who this is what they do type of thing, and they're saying that it could go possibly almost to a Cat 4. It's supposed to be going in about Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, and as of right now the path seems to be going straight through Florida. It can change, things can change for direction and size and everything like that, but people seem to be pretty set on this thing being at least Cat 2 when it hits. So there's going to be no rest for the wicked on this one. So be praying for those. Be praying for those in Florida that are going to get hit again after they just already got hit. So, man, this is just part of what's going on with what we're dealing with now, and it's hard to identify, what's man-made and altered and created as opposed to what is just God sending in that type of way. But you got to remember too, judgment from God can also be allowing men to manipulate these things and do it to our fellow men. So that's definitely part of all this as well. So we've got some serious stuff coming when it comes to weather. I don't think there's going to be any slowdown to it. Again, we might get some lulls, but I think, again, this is part of the birth pains of what's going on. They're going to increase and they're going to get worse. We call them natural events, but ultimately it just natural events. I just use that in terms of nature. So things like this. And I'm firmly under the belief that these things were man-made, especially Helene. That was absolutely man-made. You can see the radars. I don't have any radars or anything to show you guys. It's stuff that I just watch, but you can definitely see the microwave energy. You can see the energy bursts come out like waves. It almost looks like if you look on your phone and you have your Wi-Fi logo, it kind of looks like that coming out from these things, and they're Nexrad towers and whatnot. You'll see them all light up at the same time, and then the weather starts going ballistic and ham and everything like that. So these are definitely things that are being created and manipulated and sent through. But the problem is a lot of these things, they can make them and put them in a direction, but sometimes they can't control them. And so they just start going crazy. This is what happens when you play God. We're not supposed to be playing God with these things. Now, I do want to say, though, because we can take these things in the extreme spectrum type of way and go, there still are storms and whatnot that just naturally occur. We look at these things and we can't just go every single thing that happens is man-made. It's just sometimes bad stuff in weather does happen. It's happened before and it still happens to this day. Now, I'm convinced that Helene was man-made. This one looks to be kind of in the same way. I don't necessarily have anything that confirms it one way or another. I wouldn't shock me if this is maybe an after effect of what happened. But we don't want to be those people. I just want to say that, and this is weird coming from me, I know. But still, we don't want to be those people where we're just going full spectrum on the other side. Everything is man-made. It's like, we got cool our jets a little bit on this stuff. Sometimes things just do happen. But again, it's just a little reminder of that stuff. So again, be praying for those in the path of Milton. And again, it can still change at any time. So be praying for them for sure. Wow, we already got a bunch of questions. Rosalie, is it possible that the U.S. government caused the hurricane through weather manipulation? I heard the U.S. wants lithium minefields in North Carolina. I think I just kind of touched on that already, Rosalie. I believe that it was. I looked at the radars and everything, and I believe that it absolutely was created in that thing. And okay, so I was planning on addressing this, and let's just go ahead and address it now, because this has to do with the overall theme of what we're doing, the ignorant age. There are tons and tons and tons of reports coming out regarding the stuff in North Carolina that is just flat out wrong, and tons and tons of stuff that is flat out right. But we have no idea which one's wrong and which one's right. I hear people saying, I got friends that are over there saying that all the stuff that people are talking about when it comes to FEMA and the rescue people and the damage that's done is not true. And then I got a ton of people saying, I got friends over there in that area that's saying all this stuff is true. And I'm seeing so much information, images, videos, reports from all these different people, wide range of people, left and right on both sides going, I got people saying this and I got people saying that. And it's just one giant jumbled mess. And then I've seen a whole bunch of people in the Christian community that are sharing these reports and this information and these videos and images saying, this is the truth of what is really going on. And I'm sitting there going, you have absolutely no idea what's going on. I have absolutely no idea what's going on. The only way that we're going to be able to actually know what is going on is if we actually go over there ourselves and walk around all these areas and see what's actually happening. But we're not doing that. And so this is what I mean by the ignorant age, actually, what people call the information age actually being the ignorant age, because we have so much information coming our direction. We have no idea what's true and what's not. We really don't. And what we do know is Helene came through and absolutely uprooted people's lives, took people's properties, took people's homes and everything like that. But beyond that, we don't really know what is going on. We just tend to go, whatever direction we think fits what we best believe the situation is happening, and we deem that to be true, but we don't know if that's true or not. We have no way to verify that stuff. I've seen so many videos that say, look at what's going on. And I'm sitting there going, can I trust this? Yeah, the video is real. The video itself's not AI or anything, but I'm sitting there going, can we trust that this is the right time this is happening? Where are they going? What aren't they showing? What are they showing? And there's all this information out there regarding this stuff that really blinds us. We're no further out of the dark on the information than we were when we first went in. And so when it comes to the stuff in North Carolina, I've heard the reports about the lithium mines. I've heard that there was planning and stuff going on ahead of time. I've seen reports that they're tearing people's property away from from people. I've seen reports that they're not doing that. So I can't sit here and tell you one way or another. That's up to you. And I already know there's people that have it set in their mind. This is what is factual. This is what is happening. And that's just how that's what's going on. And I'm sitting there going, you don't know that. And a lot of people come at me like because of that and go, yeah, well, who are you to say? I'm not telling you one way or another. I'm just saying maybe we shouldn't plant our flag and firmly say something is factual without actually having something to back it up until things actually start happening that we can see and verify. Maybe we should just go, okay, I don't know what's going on. What's all this information coming in? Let me sort it and then see what happens. It's kind of the same stuff when we watch Bible prophecy and whatnot. We have people that firmly sit on this is how prophecy is going to unfold, but then there's nothing that we can actually sit there and confirm that that is exactly how prophecy will unfold. We know the prophetic events and the details within them, but we don't know when or sometimes how and how all this stuff is going to happen. And it's like, we just need to just chill and wait for things to happen. Like I'll use the example of Psalm 83. I sit here and I go no direction on that. I'm just waiting to see if it happens or it doesn't. But I know there's many people who sit on both sides going, this is what will happen or this will not happen. And I'm sitting there going, you don't know that. We don't know yet. And it's the same thing with what we see going on here when it comes to the North Carolina thing. And so again, we understand the devastation. We understand what's going on with people's lives and how, and we don't know how many people are killed. There's still, people buried underneath all this stuff, but we know the devastation. And so we need to focus on praying about these things and go through that type of route rather than, again, going through and trying to argue about what is factual, what is not, and pointing fingers where we don't know if fingers need to be pointed in any direction on that. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there, let people know what's going on when it comes to these things. We can't verify everything yet. And until we see it with our own eyes and we can sit there and go, okay, this is true, then we need to be careful. Again, a buddy of mine, he's not here tonight. He's actually prepping because he might get hit by this next hurricane. He's down in Florida. He's saying on Facebook, his entire feed is just getting flooded with AI generated images of the stuff in North Carolina. There's people that have created these viral AI images that are just fooling everybody, saying, look at what's happening. And he's sitting there going, this is just straight lies. It's lies. And again, we have to be very careful that when we live in this age, this is not a time where it's going to be easy. This is a time of deception and time of being fooled by all these things, of everything that's going on. And we got to be very, 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 very careful about what we believe and what we spread. That's another thing. Again, we got to vet everything that we're sending out there. And it's a lot of the time, everything, and I've gone over this before, a lot of this stuff is built to hit emotions because people stop thinking when their emotions are high, and then they just start spreading information, and it's bad information, and then all of a sudden we're off track again. And so that's a major problem. As bad as it sounds, sometimes you have to make yourself callous to these events. That doesn't mean don't have a heart, but you still have to make yourself callous so you're not getting emotionally riled up and falling into something that you shouldn't be. So that's something to think about. Patrick Star, again, Rosalie, that was probably a much longer and off rail thing that you wanted, but I mean, there's no way that we can verify some of the stuff, except I believe, based on stuff that I've seen, that hurricane was manipulated, was created. But again, and then the lithium minefields, it sounds like it fits, but until I actually see something, I don't know. Patrick Starr, I know of a pastor who's very close to Mike Pompeo. Can this pastor be trusted? That's, sometimes we have pastors who are friends and affiliate and do things with other people that are men of God, but we can see that they lack discernment and are completely deceived. I know several pastors who, when it comes to certain things, they're great men of God, very knowledgeable, very intelligent men, but they're just deceived and they don't have any discernment. And it's unfortunate. We need to pray for those, pray for those people, pray for those leaders and pastors on that. Question: what is the possibility of this hurricane taking out the United Nations? What hurricane and take out the United Nations? I'm not following your question, Annette. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Patrick Starr question: I've noticed that almost all celebrities and elites wear extremely expensive watches, such as Rolex. Is this just flaunting wealth, or is there something symbolic, evil about this? It's probably just wealth. I don't know of any Luciferian watches. They mainly wear rings or bracelets or something like that. Not necessarily a watch. So that's probably just wealth. That would be my guess on that. Annette Hamilton question: I think God is giving evil leaders over to their evil desires. What do you think? Yeah. And it's not just leaders and stuff. It's pastors in the churches, and it's congregation members, and it's followers of these leaders. Again, I don't think I have the I don't have the quote, but there's a quote from Paul Washer, and I already know there's going to be people coming at me with Paul Washer, whatever. But Paul Washer, he said the people are getting exactly what they ask for. God is giving them exactly what they ask for when they raise up people like Joel Osteen and whatnot. They don't want God. They want whatever that person brings them. And we're absolutely seeing that in today's environment, not only with political stuff, but with churches as well. We see people flocking to these leaders. When I talked about at the very beginning of this thing, we are in the world is in an Antichrist mindset. They are ready for the Antichrist because they are raising up these people that are fulfilling the spot of Jesus, even though they say that they're actually following Jesus, but they're actually following this other person, and they're pushing things aside, compromising on their own beliefs and convictions and compromising on biblical doctrine because they have raised these people up as their next Jesus. So the world is absolutely ready for it. Whether it's secular or the modern church, they are ready for this mindset. And so the leaders themselves are absolutely going in the direction of the evil desires of who controls them, which is the Luciferians. The churches are going in the direction of their evil desires, whether it's something like wealth, greed, prosperity, or we're seeing a lot more pastors getting caught with affairs and pedophilia charges and whatnot. And these congregation members are absolutely following them. And they have replaced Jesus with this other idol that they so worship. We look at all these people going on out there, and people just worship. I was sending some an image, a photo that somebody took of a billboard in Pennsylvania, 1 mile away from the Trump rally, that showed "In Musk We Trust." And I had a picture of Musk with his Tesla logo and SpaceX logo and all this type of stuff. And people have replaced God with Musk on that. They worship this guy. And I saw some of the comments of what these people were putting underneath this thing. And you would not believe the stuff that I'm seeing. People who claim to be Christians in their profile, and they're saying the only hope that we have for humanity is to elect these people and get them in charge. And I've seen comments, just absolutely just horrific comments, where there's women saying, I'd leave my husband if I had a chance to spend one night with Elon Musk. I kid you not. And this is the world now. This is the world now. And people are just, they are openly mocking God. They are openly mocking God, even though they claim that they're not. They are mocking God with what they say. They are putting biblical principles on the back burner in order to push their physical flesh leader into the place, onto the throne, all the while saying, no, I'm not worshiping him, but that's exactly what they're doing. And so, yes, these leaders have been turned over to their desires and to the puppeteers' desires, and their followers are getting turned over to them as well. This world is absolutely ready for the Antichrist. It's prepped and ready. Secular and modern church. Yep. Let's see here. Mark Collins, is Milton the hurricane or the guy sitting there? Yeah. Every time I hear Milton, I just think of Milton from Office Space. If anybody knows me, Office Space is like in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. And so whenever I hear Milton, I just think, so I had to throw him in there. So had to do that. Yeah. Okay. Still got some more questions, but we'll go ahead and get into a little bit of what we got going on. I mean, we're 35 minutes in, and I've talked about the hurricane and a bunch of questions, which nothing wrong with that. But let's go ahead and get into the first thing. So coming up, yeah, Jackie Clausen, don't take a stapler. Yeah, that's his stapler. So coming up in January 2025, we've got the Davos meeting, everybody's favorite WEF Davos meeting coming up. And one of the meetings that's going to be happening at it is called the Intelligent Age, a time for cooperation. We can see that part of the theme here. This is coming. This was actually being written by Mr. Schwab, Mr. Krauss, Uncle Krauss. And it says rapid advancement, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and blockchain have propelled us into the intelligent age. I'd say the ignorant age. If managed cooperatively and mindfully, this revolution can enhance human potential. Okay. And then social, geopolitical, technological, and environmental intelligence will be fundamental to success in the intelligent age. And so here's some stuff regarding this. This is almost a decade ago in 2016. Uncle Kraus coined the term of the fourth industrial revolution. I could see a world where the fusion of our physical, digital, and biological realities would transform industries and society. This revolution, I knew, had the potential to fundamentally change all aspects of our lives. And so when we're talking about this fourth industrial revolution, this is definitely an advancement of the Third Reich from Nazi. This is the next evolution of it. And we can see elements of the neo-feudalistic technocracy. Everybody likes to throw out the words communism and Marxism and whatnot, which it's nowhere near that. What's coming. What we see is that neo-feudalistic technocracy, kings and peasants and then the peasants are controlled by technology. And so we see that with the element of altering humans, combining humans with machine, that transhuman technology. And that could also be a way of ruling over people, of controlling people, even down to their thought level, thought crime, thought police type of deal. And so it's this combination of this, and of course there's the religious aspect too, which I've covered extensively in End Times New Age series. If you guys haven't seen that yet, that has to do with it's the next evolution of Christ consciousness type of deal of using technology for us to evolve into our next form type of deal. So that's all wrapped up in this fourth industrial revolution that he's pushing. It says, but now we witness the exponential acceleration of technological change. It's clear we are no longer just in the throes of an industrial shift. We are entering the intelligent age, an era far behind technology alone. This is a societal revolution, one that has the power to elevate humanity or indeed fracture it. It's definitely not going to elevate all of humanity. As we read in scripture, there's going to be one that gets elevated, and that's about it on that. So the intelligent age, driven by rapid advancement in artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and blockchain, is transforming everything, changing it right now in real time. So yeah, AI and quantum computing, I've talked about those two systems. They are absolutely supernatural computing systems. They should not work, but they do. And they're only getting more advanced, and they can be controlled. They can absolutely be controlled. Again, AI is going to become DI, demonic intelligence. And as we know with quantum computing, they're using things like dark matter and time crystals and whatnot to make it work. Again, we're talking about dimension level, dimension shifting level technology that's being done for that. Let's see here. So it says the intelligent age is upon us. These converging technologies are reshaping the very fabric of our world, demanding shift, adaptation, and global cooperation. For this transformation to develop further than divide society, it must go well beyond technological advances to actually enhance human potential. It is imperative that we develop environmental, social, and geopolitical intelligence alongside technical or technological intelligence. AI and automation are already disrupting entire industries. In healthcare, AI-driven systems are outperforming humans for the benefit of patients, so they say. In diagnostics, AI is helping doctors reach much more accurate decisions, plowing through vast data sets to discover new drugs and developing personalized treatment plans on a genetic information. So again, they're pushing the idea of having AI, of having a computer not only look over a person's health, but they want full-time monitoring of that person, as well as genetic engineering that will play a part into this as well. We start getting into, again, you don't want to miss on Tuesday with Mondo, because this is what we're going to be talking about, is this type of thing. But the genetic engineering of altering a human, how much does a human need to be altered before it's not human anymore? And so what all does that entail with adding technology, adding different DNA strands, changing the fabric of humanity ultimately with this? And so this is what they want. They want AI, again, demonic entities ruling over the human body, even to a DNA and cellular level. And that's really what's going on. So that's going to be one of the things that's going to be discussed at this Davos meeting that's coming up. And then it says in agriculture, farmers are leveraging AI to optimize crop yields, while manufacturers are using intelligent systems to improve supply chain efficiency and reduce waste. Even finance, one of the most conservative industries, is being upended by AI-driven algorithms that predict market movements with increasing accuracy and speed. So we got a couple things here. We got healthcare, we got agriculture, we got finance, supply chain. We've got quite a few industries that are all being influenced and directed and is utilizing AI in order to move it into a certain direction. And so when I think of this, the thing that pops into my head is, because there's always the debate of the 10 kings. Who are the 10 kings going to be? How is it going to work and whatnot? Again, this is one of those areas that we don't know. We can lean one way or another. And I lean in the direction of, I believe that the 10 kings are going to be industry leaders. I believe that these are going to be 10 people, because industries can control the earth a lot better than having 10 ruling people in cut out sections of the earth. Now, I believe that there's going to be 10 sections, 10 districts in the world, but I still believe the 10 kings are going to be industry leaders for various reasons. And one of them had to do with COP, I believe it's 22, one of those, where Prince Charles came out and said that there's 10 industries that can rule the world. And he listed off 5. He listed agriculture and fashion, healthcare, and some other ones I can't remember off the top of my head. And I'm sitting here going, this is the same speech that he made reference everybody knows or has heard. He said there's going to be one person and he will have trillions of dollars behind him, and everybody paid attention to that. But if you just go a few minutes past that, he talks about 10 specific industries that control the world. And so I think he gave us a glimpse at who those 10 kings are going to be. I think, again, we don't know. But I just find it fascinating that AI is getting into the industries in the same way. And I'm just going, neo-feudalistic technocracy. The kings will rule with technology, and AI is one of those. And so I think that's a good indication of what may come out from this. And then it says, but there are potential downside and risks. Automation is set to displace millions of workers, and while it will create new opportunities, we need to ensure that we have the policies, education systems, and social safety nets in place to help people transition to new roles. The economic benefits of these transformations must be widely shared if we are to avoid deepening inequalities that threaten social cohesion. One of the ways that they're prepping for that is UBI. You're going to just be a slave, a peasant to the kings. And so UBI is one of those systems, those societal constructs that they're getting ready for this. The intelligent age is also transforming how we live. Cities are becoming more smarter with sensors and AI managing everything from traffic flow to energy usage. These smart cities and the smart homes within them are not just more efficient. They are designed to be more sustainable, reducing carbon emissions and improving quality of life. So we're again getting a direction here of smart homes and smart cities. The 15-minute cities, the districts, however you want to call those. They've been called so many different things, as well as carbon tracking. And carbon credits, which is an element to this one world economy that doesn't necessarily get talked about very often. We often talk about the digital currency and CBDC and stuff like that, but carbon credits is definitely going to be a part of this. They've been working on that under the radar. People aren't paying attention, but there's been cards and trackers, coins, even menus have printouts of these things. It's not so much on there anymore, but it used to be. You go on Amazon and they had how much this thing cost in carbon and the CO2 level and stuff. They are getting ready to introduce that to this as well. So we got, again, another glimpse at a coming controlling factor that they're planning on using for this. So smart cities, smart homes, carbon. Then it says, with the rise of the metaverse and virtual worlds, the line between the digital and physical is becoming increasingly blurred. Virtual spaces are emerging where people can work, socialize, and even own digital assets, ushering in new forms of economic and social interaction. The shift towards a more blended reality may profoundly impact how we define personal space, property, and community. Basically, what they mean by newly define those things is there's going to be no privacy. You're not going to have any of that. You will own nothing and be happy. And I've talked about this before. You've got Rand, who's come out with the reports that the metaverse they're building it where you're not going to realize if you're actually in the metaverse or in reality anymore. They want to blur those lines that much. They also have discussed how whatever happens in the real world will affect the metaverse, but whatever happens in the metaverse will also affect reality. And they said there's going to be walls that will be torn down between countries because of this blurred virtual and reality level that we have going on. And so they want to be able to make it so they can entrap you within a matrix level thing. And I did a breakdown on this. I did an episode of Showtime where I've talked about how they're trying to actually build the metaverse on a multi-level scale of using humans as batteries to power these things. 6G can help accomplish that. In the metaverse, blurring the lines, you look at somebody like Ray Kurzweil, who's come out and said the singularity, where man and machine come together. They want to blur the lines where you don't know where man ends and machine begins, and you don't know where reality ends and the virtual begins. These are actual things that they want to get done. Even to many of us who watch Prophecy, we kind of look at this and go, that's really far-fetched. But they've been telling us for decades that this is what they want to do. And this is part of the fourth industrial revolution that they actually want to get done. And then we can also see here, it says social, geopolitical, technological, environmental intelligence. It says, yet the vast energy demands of these new technologies, especially in areas like cryptocurrency mining and AI computing, should give us pause. It must be balanced with the creation of renewable energy solutions. Environmental intelligence is about ensuring that the intelligent age does not exacerbate climate change or deplete our natural resources, but rather helps us mitigate environmental risks to build more sustainable economies. So they kind of tell us here, especially in the areas of cryptocurrency mining and AI computing. Well, again, I just made reference to they want to use human energy as an energy source. They want to use us as batteries. And so one of the ways that they want to do that, again, I mentioned the 6G. They can use 6G with the LED lights and the radio waves. They can actually turn us into batteries that way. But we've also seen some programs. Everybody knows of the I believe it was Microsoft. I think it's Microsoft that they patent WA060606, which has to do with using human energy to mine cryptocurrency when you complete tasks, and then it'll get dumped into your wallet and whatnot. So again, they want to turn us into energy factories, into batteries. And so that's usually the question of how are they going to power all this stuff? What are they going to do with all this stuff? Again, they're going to use us. We are the peasants. We are the slaves. And so they're going to turn us into those energy batteries. It says the intelligent age is fundamentally altering how we communicate, both with one another, with the world around us. AI is taking instantaneous and global communication to the next level, enabling real-time translation across languages, automatic content generation, and hyper-personalized messaging that caters to individual preferences and behavior. So before we go any further, so there's a couple things here. One, instantaneous language translation. This is the ignorant age. Nobody's going to learn new languages anymore. So there's going to be no drive to increase our knowledge, to want to exceed further in new culture and new knowledge and learn languages and whatnot. But the other aspect of that is prophecy has patterns, and everything that we're seeing when it comes to this beast system is we're trying to get back to the Tower of Babel. Well, one of the main elements back then was a one world language, a universal language. And so through technology, they can create, or Satan can create, that one language again. That's why God said, you guys can achieve too much with this one language. So I'm going to scramble your languages and then send you out. It was God's way of restricting what was going on with that. Now Satan wants to bring it right back. And so utilizing this technology can do that. I've talked about before, I can't remember the guy's name, but he comes from India, and he made a program, or he was helping develop a program that was one language translation financial interaction. And you're able to pay somebody by verbally speaking. And it didn't matter if one person knew one language and the other one knew another language. The technology would translate the language, see how much the money was, and then process the payment just by speaking your own language. So now we've got one world finance and one world language all playing a part in that as well. So these are things that are absolutely being developed when it comes to the one language situation. It says AI-driven platforms are already beginning to mediate much of our communication, whether through social media algorithms that decide what content we see, or virtual assistants who manage our schedules and interactions. As these systems become more sophisticated, they will increasingly shape the flow of information in society, raising important questions about bias and information. So we get to the point of needing to wrangle in information, to issue censorship, to control who can say what and on what platform, having full access to everybody's private conversations to make sure that there's no misinformation or disinformation that's going on. If you guys don't know, misinformation is wrong information spread accidentally. Disinformation is bad information spread purposely for whatever reason that they want to do. So that's what they deem as misinformation and disinformation. One's accidental, one's on purpose, in case you guys didn't know. But ultimately, they need to wrangle in censorship. They needed what's going on. And this was one of the things that I just kind of started out with that kind of rant that I did early on. Has to do with there's so much bad information out there that we don't know what's true and what's not. So this idea of the information age is indeed the information age, where there's an influx of information that we can access. But ultimately, it's the ignorant age, because we really don't know what's true and what's not. We can just go off of whatever our favorite person tells us, or if something fits our bias, or it leans in the direction that we already are leaning in, we'll just kind of take it and run with it and go, oh, that must be true. But we really don't know. And so it really goes along the lines of who's saying it and does it benefit me? Well, if it benefits me and what I believe, or the consensus of my group of friends, then it must be true. And it may not, in fact, be true. But they want to restrict the ability for us to have any information outside of what they deem to be true, which ultimately is just their own narrative. So we've got two problems in one with that. They're just different problems from different angles with that. And then it says, with the advent of the intelligent age, we are confronted both with unprecedented opportunities and unprecedented risks. To navigate this new era responsibly, we need coordinated global efforts across all sectors of society. Policymakers, I hate that word, must work quickly to establish regulations that ensure AI, quantum computing, and blockchain are used ethically, according to their ethics, and for the benefit of all. See, that's the problem with this stuff. Whenever they say ethically or morally or anything like that, it's always based upon their own ethics, their own morals. Remember, was it when I did the Pact for the Future episode? The UN deems human rights as whatever fits according to their agenda. And if you deviate out that, then they declare that you no longer have human rights. So again, their version of human rights is based on their own ethics and on their own morality. So when they say based on, or is ethically positive, we have no idea whose ethics they're basing it off of. It just whatever they deem to be ethically correct. Then it says education systems must evolve to prepare future generations for a world of work where many traditional jobs no longer exist and new roles are emerging that require entirely different skill sets. Businesses must rethink their models, ensuring that they adapt to the dynamism. That's not right, but you guys get it, of the intelligent age, while fostering an environment that does not leave workers and entire sections of society behind. Again, the increase of robotics and automation will usher in the UBI system as far as that goes. This is collaboration for the intelligent age. This finishes this off. It says this is why at the World Economic Forum's next annual meeting in Davos, we have chosen the theme collaboration for the intelligent age. Global cooperation is essential if we are to steer this revolution, toward a positive outcome. We must create international frameworks for the governance of AI and emerging technologies, promote the responsible use of data, and ensure that all nations, regardless of their level of development, have a voice in shaping the future. What they mean is all nations, whoever we decide to be a voice for that nation will come in and guide and direct in that way, just like they do with the UN now, which says, we are your representatives. No, you're not. You're a bunch of people who self-elected each other to rule over people. You're not our representatives. You are slave owners. And ultimately, you are slaves to yourself, slaves yourself to the Luciferian cabal that controls you. But ultimately, that's what's going on. So that's one of the meetings that's going to be happening at this Davos meeting. A lot of things pointing to various possibilities for the prophetic events and the beast system, possibly the 10 kings, as we know, technology and everything like that. So very fascinating. That's coming up fast, January. It's coming up very, very fast on that. All right, you guys, wow. Man, we might not get to everything with all the questions you guys got going on. This is becoming a Q&A thing. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just like, man, you guys got a lot of questions tonight. Let's see here. Okay, I think it was right here. Okay. Mike the Mechanic, question. Do you know a good, reliable charity to help those hurt from Hurricane Helene? I don't know a reliable charity. I know a lot of people are saying Samaritan's Purse. I don't trust Samaritan's Purse past my hand. Red Cross is absolutely a no-no as well. I don't, Mike. I don't know. I've seen some more private ones popping up, but at the same time, I don't know who they are, and I didn't vet them. So I don't, unfortunately, have anybody that I can suggest to support for the hurricane effort. I'm sorry, Mike. If you do find somebody and you vet them, email me, and I'll see if I can do something from that. Let's see here. Neardo Andrew, did they name it Milton because of Paradise Lost? No, I don't know. Maybe they've named it Milton because he has a swing line stapler and they plan on swinging the hurricane on a line. Bad joke. No, I don't know. Let's see here. Jeffrey Crone, don't you think that the Holy Spirit will guide us in discerning truth in these events? I think it's, I believe it's in, is it 2 Corinthians? I'm so bad at pulling out the chapter. But ultimately, one of the gifts of the Holy Spirit that he hands out choosingly. Not everybody gets it like everybody says, or not everybody, but a lot of people say. One of the gifts that the Holy Spirit hands out choosingly is the gift of discernment. And so everybody should be praying for that gift, but that doesn't necessarily mean everybody gets it, which is why we see the rift in the church that we see today. There are, again, godly men, just absolutely incredibly knowledgeable, biblically sound pastors and theologians and believers that are duped by the events and the stuff going on today. They can't see a very simple thing in front of them, but when it comes to scripture and stuff, they've got it on lock. And so not everybody has discernment. That's why we have people constantly confused. We have people who say one thing and people that say another, and there's always infighting and all this stuff when it comes to these events that's going on. And so, yeah, it's one of those things where not everybody has that gift of discernment. So be praying for it, but doesn't mean that we have it. Doesn't mean that we have it. And we can see proof of that with in our own community, where people can't agree on simple events happening in front of our faces right now. So something to think about on that. Amanda Stump, a reputable place to send donations? I just answered that, so I don't know. I'm sorry, Amanda. Let's see here. Jeffrey Crone, this is kind of the same question. Don't you think the Holy Spirit will help us discern the truth again? Sometimes, not always, though. Easy question. Does voting actually matter when the real power is behind the scenes? If voting actually mattered, they would not allow us to do it. Voting has been rigged. The same people who have been shouting "vote harder" the past few months are the same people who were the loudest voices back in 2020 saying it was all rigged and stolen. So again, 5-second attention span and the memory of a goldfish. Decades and decades and decades of United States history goes to point that no, we don't have a voice voting. People don't like that. But I've always said it's just you're giving yourself a participation trophy. Now do what the Lord leads you to do. I'm not saying one way or the other. I've always taken that stance. I just want people to be informed. And that's my whole goal is I just want people to be informed all the way around of everything. I don't want to hide anything. I don't want to have an agenda about anything. I just want people to be informed. And if through that information, you still come out and say, the Lord's telling me to vote for so-and-so or whatever, do it. Who am I to tell you any different? I'm not telling you what to do on that. But from the research that I've done, the history that I've seen, and everything that's going on, I can firmly sit here and go, when it comes to the big elections, Congress, governor, president, that type of stuff, our vote doesn't matter. I'd still say if you get a chance to go local, do that, because I still believe that we do have a voice locally. School boards, mayor, city council, that type of stuff. Yeah. Jeffrey Crone. Sorry. Excuse me. Jeffrey Crone. Have you discussed the Urantia book? I have never heard of it before yesterday when it popped up several times on my YouTube feed. Kind of weird how that happened. I have. I talked about it in the End Times New Age series. I don't know which part it was. There's 24 parts. Still worth checking out all 24. But I do talk about it in the End Times New Age series. And yeah, basically it was a group. Urantia book is a collection of Urantia papers from a guy, I can't remember the guy's name, who was receiving signals, messages from an extraterrestrial, otherworldly, spiritual entity. They don't claim him as an alien. It was more of a spiritual entity that contacted him, giving him messages. And so he wrote it down on the paper, and then they created the Urantia book, and it became its own kind of religion aspect. So I break that stuff down again in the End Times New Age series if you want to check that out. Absolutely stay away from it, though. Stay away from that thing for sure. Let's see here. Joseph Pena. I just have to say your last name like that, man. I just have to. It's great. Okay. Do you think the human DNA will be changed with the mark of the beast? And maybe that's why they cannot be saved, because they're not fully human anymore. I believe that to be the case. To what extent and how they're going to do it, not sure. We don't know. But I tend to believe that that's what the mark of the beast will do. It'll alter a human. That's why everybody wants to know, why do we have the huge long list of the genealogy in Scripture? Because it shows how the pure human bloodline that followed through that Jesus, when he came down, 100% man, 100% God, it was that he was pure 100% man. So it proves that his sacrifice on the cross was indeed fulfilling of taking on the sins of all who are human. And so if you are 100% human, you place your faith in Jesus Christ and can be saved. So that's an element to that, to the huge long genealogy list. And so when it comes to the mark of the beast, I believe that it will alter the human DNA in some type of way. Again, we don't know how or what, but that will make it so you can no longer be saved anymore, because anybody who takes the mark cannot receive salvation. And so if you're not 100% human, the sacrifice that Christ did for humanity doesn't apply to you. And so you're locked out from that. So that's why I believe that the mark will indeed do that, which me and Mondo, we will talk about that on Tuesday. So make sure you tune in for that. Pena on Tuesday. Carol Moody. Since we are being transhumanized against our will, do you think God will understand and accept us as long as we are trying to stand against it? Well, here's the thing. They're doing stuff to our bodies now against our will. They are food we eat, the stuff that they put in the air, and all that type of stuff. We can't be held responsible for that. And so that's why, again, going back to the mark of the beast, which I believe will alter, one of the main elements that's in Scripture tells us that it will not be forced upon people. People will have to choose to do it. And so that's a big thing that we have to remember, is they're constantly messing with us through all the stuff that they do. But that's nothing we can help. And we're not choosing to do that. For those who choose to give up their humanity, then you've got a problem. So I would not worry, Carol, when it comes to that stuff. I would not worry. You know, I've received a couple of questions in the past. I'm not knocking them for it. It's, if you don't know, you don't know. But they said I received a surgery where they put in like a pacemaker or steel rods or something. Am I good? I'm saying, yeah, no, you're good. Don't worry. Don't freak out about that stuff. That's nothing to worry about. So yeah, that's stuff that doesn't need to worry about. Patrick Starr, question: will you be doing a live stream during the selection night on Tuesday, November 5th? I was going to leave it a surprise, but since you asked, yeah. I will be doing we'll have a show that will have me, JB Hickson, and Toby Stevens or Harpazzo clothing. If you guys don't know, he's the associate pastor at JB Hickson's church, and we'll be doing a podcast called The Selection Party, where we're going to be talking about that stuff. We're not going to be watching that stuff live or anything like that, but we'll be talking about the politics and the leadership and all that type of stuff as well. And I can't think of two better guys than to do that. So it'll be a triple threat. It'll be a triple threat on November 5th. So yes, we'll be doing that. So for all those who don't really give a rip about the selection, come on in. We'll be having some fun, and it's going to be no way controversial. Absolutely no way controversial. That's let's see. Chessie Gloina. Is this going to be like Ready Player One? I'm guessing like the metaverse stuff. Sounds like that's what they want to do. That absolutely sounds like they want to do. So that's probably a good look into what they're wanting to accomplish for sure. Let's see here. Antonio, question. I've heard pastors say that if a mark/chip comes out, it is not the mark. But Revelation 16:2, a grievous sore comes upon the men which had the mark. Should we take the chance or take it to live? Well, if I read your question right, We've already had some of those things come out. We've had stuff about like 10 years ago, I think, in Switzerland. They offered some RFID chips to put in people's hands that they could open doors and stuff. I've seen stuff when it comes to people putting chips in to get into their cars and whatnot. I absolutely don't believe that we should be putting that stuff in our body voluntarily, but it's not the mark of the beast. It's not the mark of the beast. But I wouldn't be putting any of that stuff in there personally. The only thing that goes into this body is Cheetos. Sorry, just had to throw that out there. Okay, one more question, then we'll get on to this, and then again, there's still more questions I'll get to, but I want to get on to the next thing. BP&E, do you think that Musk will be one of the 10 kings? Seems to be lining up that way. I'm not a betting man, but if I had gun to my head, had to pick one or the other, I would probably say yeah. He sure seems to be lining up with all the technology stuff when it comes to Starlink, Neuralink, CureVac, Grok AI, the X platform that he wants to turn into the Everything app. He seems to be lining up that way. So he definitely could be. I would not sit here and say there's no way that he couldn't be. So, okay. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get into the next thing. So the United States have come out and partnered with 8 big tech companies, and they launched the Partnership for Global Inclusivity on AI. And so this is their way of partnering with some huge tech companies to get this extended. Get this extended even further when it comes to the AI reach. So this is coming straight from the Department of State. It says, today in New York City, on the margins of the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly, keep in mind this is in play revolving around the Pact for the Future and the Global Digital Annex that they put on there, as well as the UN Cybercrime Treaty. Since they're extending into that, this has everything to do with what was just done with that. So it says on the launch of the after the session of the General Assembly, Blinken. Hey Blinken, sorry, launched the Partnership for Global Inclusivity on AI and announced other initiatives to harness the rapid advancement of AI to advance sustainable development globally. So yeah, this sounds exactly like what the Pact is all about when it comes to this. The Partnership for Global Inclusivity on AI brings together the Department of State, Amazon, Anthropic, Google, IBM, Meta, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and OpenAI. Yeah, that's a dangerous club if I've ever seen one. Together, they commit more than 100 million, leveraging their combined expertise, resources, and networks to unlock AI's potential as a powerful tool for sustainable development and improve quality of life for developing countries. Right. When they mean improving quality of life, what they mean is we need to get everybody connected on this system so we can roll out the next phase of the agenda. That's ultimately what that means. It says, while maintaining an unwavering commitment to safety, security, and trustworthiness in AI systems. Not going to happen over here, Jack. This effort recognizes that effective and equitable AI solutions must be rooted in an understanding and respect for the diverse cultures, languages, and traditions of communities they serve. To this end, the partnership here will focus on 3 areas: compute, which is increasing access to AI models, compute credits, and other AI tools; capacity, building human technical capacity, and context, expanding local data sets. So it's just about getting it out further. We're not going to go through this whole thing. There's just some stuff that I want to point out. It says the Department of State intends to provide 10 million in foreign assistance, so sending another 10 million over into foreign countries to help get this going. The department, they love sending money to everybody else but their own states. It's amazing, isn't it? The Department of State plans to provide an additional 23 million in funding, working with Congress to promote AI globally with their development goals and stuff. So another 23 million going into that. 12 million for programs using AI as a tool to advance democracy, promote human and labor rights, which again are defined by the UN, which can be taken away, and foster justice and accountability. Again, who's the one that declares what is just and what is right and what is accountable? Again, these are people that don't actually represent us. They represent the Luciferian cabal. So all these fancy little words about we're worried about the humans and stuff like that really don't matter when it comes to this. Approximately 5 million in education and cultural exchanges. So that's propaganda and indoctrination. Another 3 million in programs that employ AI to identify mis and disinformation and prevent online hate from spreading to offline violence for members of religious minority communities. So again, another 3 million for censorship. That's all that means. Another 1.2 million to develop safe, secure, and trustworthy AI policy framework ecosystem. Basically just everything to do with how they want to define the rules for AI. And then 1.3 million to launch the USAID's responsible AI funding to conduct AI-related programs through digital forward mechanism. Okay, again, we're not going to go through all this. I just want to point out what these people are doing here. So you got Amazon Web Services, which they're basically, they want to get in and they're committed to offering skills training to empower the next generation of innovators. Basically, they want to train more people in their AI web service program and expand the web service program globally across other countries. So this is about getting everybody caught up with Amazon Web Service, which try and find websites today that aren't connected to Amazon Web Service. They host like almost everything. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Anthropic. There we go. There we go. AI models can play crucial in supporting accelerating development countries' work to address the SDGs. And so they're going to provide up to 1 million for their Claude AI system to help advance the UN sustainable goals. Google is coming in with 120 million to support a global AI opportunity fund to make AI education and training available throughout the world. This has to do with languages, AI courses, as well as conditioning people to get more comfortable with AI overruling their lives. This is all about conditioning people to accept AI overlords. Ultimately, that's what's going on with that. Plus, we know Google's at the front lines when it comes to censorship with all this stuff. IBM, they're coming in. Remember, IBM's big on quantum computing as well as super AI computing and all that stuff. Their morality compass was pointed south when you go all the way back to Nazi Germany, as they were the ones that came up with the ticketing system for the Jews to making sure that they're all marked and recorded so they can go after them. It says IBM believes AI is the transformative technology of our time, yada, yada, yada. And so to help vulnerable populations address environmental challenges this year, we have extended our pledge through the IBM Sustainable Accelerator to provide up to 45 million expertise in technology such as AI by the end of 2028. So utilizing AI and technology to control the weather. In addition, we work with organizations such as NASA and the UNDP to develop valuable assets and make them more accessible. So this seems to be, again, going the route of weather modification, the environment, and so on and so forth. Meta is the parent company to Facebook. In 2024 and 2025, Meta will invest more than 10 million in programmatic, it's a weird word, support globally to expand open source AI information. With the investment, they will increase access to open source AI globally, including Latin America, Africa, Middle East, and Asia, by offering grants as well as extending their AI language system to them. If you guys don't know, one of the main elements to the Pact of the Future has to do with getting the third world countries online. Get everybody connected. They can't do this unless everybody is connected. And this is something that they've been talking about for quite a few years now in these meetings, is making sure that they can get everybody connected online with an online ID and an online bank account. And so what they're doing here is they're pushing forward into these countries to make sure everybody gets online. Another element that plays a part of that, Starlink. That's going to be one of the ways to go in and alter or bypass having all this infrastructure in those third world countries, is by utilizing Starlink to get it done as well. So that's something to keep in mind. The last three on this, we got Microsoft. which is contributing to the partnership with $12 billion for AI data center infrastructure connectivity, as well as going into places like Southeast Asia, Africa, Latin America, so more of the third world countries as well. But the data centers is important because I just talked about was it Tuesday? I think it was Tuesday. Was it Tuesday? I can't remember. Man, there's so much information. I can't remember exactly when I talked about it, but I know I talked about it where Microsoft is now in partnership with BlackRock and several other organizations to increase funding into data centers worldwide, globally. And so this is playing a part in that as well. So more and more data centers to hold our data, AI information, and all that as well. So I think it was Tuesday. That's going to bug me. I can't remember when I talked about it. I just talked about it. Anyways, so that's what's going on with that. NVIDIA, which is NVIDIA is committed to AI and empowering businesses and government around the world to harness the power of AI. And so this has to do with developing more training programs for developers and more startups to utilize AI programs or whatever. So this is what these companies like to do. There's a lot of bigwigs, investor funds. Peter Thiel's one of these main guys who goes in, gives these startup companies a lot of money to develop programs which will benefit their own programs which are already going. And then when they get to the point, they can then buy that technology and roll it into theirs. So this has a lot to do with funding these smaller startups to get technology that they want to roll over into their programs as well. So that's what it seems like NVIDIA wants to do with that. And then OpenAI is launching the OpenAI Academy, which will invest in developers and organizations in low, middle income countries. Again, getting more into the lower class countries, as well as more training when it comes to that. Blinken also announced the official release of the Global AI Research Agenda and AI and Global Development Playbook, two complementary documents developed by the U.S. government to foster future research collaborations on AI and guide the development community in leveraging AI to advance progress and addressing global development challenges. He also highlighted the risk management profile for AI and human rights. Again, they define what human rights is, which was released in July of 2024, which provides the concrete recommendations on assessing and managing the human rights impacts of AI technology. Basically, we don't care if the AI overtakes your job and pushes you into poor level or anything like that. According to our human rights, we declare that that's not a human rights violation. But if you so choose to uprise against the AI programs that we're starting to do, that would take away your human rights, and so on and so forth. That's what happens when you have people who are so morally bankrupt in control of what is moral and what is ethic or ethical, because this is what follows with that. And then coming along with it, the U.S. also announced how the U.S. is helping the world use AI for good. And it says, we're determining to work with fellow democracies to realize that goal. The Freedom Online Coalition. If you guys don't know the Freedom Online Coalition, it's like 40-something countries, government agencies, and government entities coming together to try and fight for online freedom. So the very same people that are trying to restrict your online freedom are apparently the ones coming together to fight for your online freedom. How does that make sense? And if you guys don't know this group, the Freedom, the Freedom Online Coalition, when they began, they were founded in 2011. The keynote speaker for the very first conference that they had was Hillary Clinton. I'm not sure that they're really fighting for online freedom. I'm just going to throw that out there. It says the Freedom Online Coalition is taking steps to curb digital surveillance. Right. No, they're trying to increase it, find more ways to do it. We've worked to define guardrails for the use of surveillance technologies by government. We've mobilized 17 nations committed to countering the misuse and abuse of commercial spyware. This coalition is also exchanging lessons on how to expose, disrupt, and deter disinformation. There it is. See, it has nothing to do with freedom online. No, this has to do with how can we find and take out information that doesn't fit our narrative. Members are working to build a more resilient global information system and to hold accountable those to seek to undermine democratic elections. Again, they just love throwing that word democracy around. It's just an illusion. It doesn't exist. It's just a key word that they always throw around to these to make it feel like we're fighting for you guys. No, you're not. No, you say you are, but you're actually restricting us, all the meanwhile feeding us an illusion that we actually have a choice in anything that's going on. But ultimately, they're working on trying to, again, provide censorship, go after people who are exposing the truth, who are going against the narrative, that whatever they deem is not, that doesn't fit according to their agenda, they want to try and take down. So this is another extension of that. And one of the main people who's actually leading this charge with this is a woman by the name of Melissa Fleming. Now, she's the Undersecretary General of Communications at the UN. And so she's coming out. This was at the SDG event here in September. I think this was a side event happening at the summit. I believe that's what was going on. And Melissa Fleming here says how the UN is combating disinformation in the age of AI. It says disinformation is running rampant in today's world. The internet, social media, AI combined with declining trust in major institutions have created an ecosystem ripe for exploitation by nefarious actors aiming to spread false and hateful narratives, basically anything that goes against their agenda. Meanwhile, governments worldwide are struggling to get big tech companies to take substantive steps to combat disinformation. It was one of the main goals of this Pact of the Future. And at the global level, the UN's priorities are also being hit hard by these trends. We can't bring about and generate stability in fragile environments if populations are turning against our peacekeepers. I always love when they call themselves peacekeepers. As a result of lies being spread against them online, we can't make progress on climate change if people are being led to believe, first of all, that maybe it doesn't even exist, or that it's not as bad as they thought, or that it's actually too late and there's nothing they can do about it. Melissa Fleming, the UN's Undersecretary General for Global Communications, told G0 in a convention at the SDG Media Zone during the UN General Assembly. So she specifically talks about misinformation, disinformation going against climate change and against the agendas that the UN is pushing against it. So if you guys don't remember, back in 2022, she was interviewed regarding basically the same thing. And this is the famous video where she said, "We own the science." So check this out.
You know, we partnered with Google, for example. If you Google climate change, you will, at the top of your search, you will get all kinds of UN resources. We started this partnership when we were shocked to see that when we Googled climate change, we were getting incredibly distorted information right at the top. So we're becoming much more proactive. You know, we own the science, and we think that the world, you know, should know it, and the platforms themselves also do. But again, it's a huge challenge that I think all sectors of society need to be very active in.
Yeah, so basically she was explaining, sorry, excuse me. She was explaining that they partnered with Google to make sure that all other information besides their own was stymied, that was pushed away from the search results. And she basically said, well, we own the science, which they do, because if you go back to the book, to the Club of Rome, the book that they put out, basically said that they needed to create a global problem that can unite everybody together for them to push forward towards a one world order. And they chose climate. And so when it comes to this stuff, they in fact own the science, which is, I always find it fascinating. There's so many people that fight faith with science. And I'm sitting there going, you do realize that science can be altered and changed. And science is basically just a theory when it comes to this type of stuff, because they own it. Whoever's in control of it owns it. It's the same thing when it comes to history. History is written by the victors, right? That's why we have such a huge swath of skewed history that's taught to everybody, because whoever was in control of that at the time wanted to make sure that their agenda and narrative was pushed. And so what is true and what is not? Again, we are in the ignorant age. We have no idea what is reality and what is not. Now, Fleming goes on to continue to say, the UN alone cannot tackle these problems without civil society, without people. And the people are what drives political agendas. So it's really important for us to work on our information ecosystems together, Fleming added. Though Fleming said that that many in the UN are excited about AI's myriad potential benefits, she also emphasized the serious problems it's already posing in terms of accelerating the spread of disinformation, particularly via deepfakes. Again, problem, reaction, solution. They created the problem, and so they're reacting by providing the solution of we need to use the same AI that's causing disinformation to silence anybody who goes against our agenda. Problem, reaction, solution, right there. We spent a lot of time also trying to educate the public on how to spot misinformation and disinformation. So we're trying to basically indoctrinate you with false ideologies that will not only lead you down our agenda path into a dumb slave mentality, but we also want you to point out the problem childs, which are trying to break people out of that agenda. And again, we get back to Nazi Germany. Snitch on your neighbors. That's really what's going on with that. So we're calling on AI actors to really create safety by design and don't leave it only to the user to be able to try and figure out how to navigate this. They are designing these instruments and they can be a part of the solution. Yes, the solution to the problem that you created. And so they're talking about misinformation, disinformation, making sure everybody can isn't being exposed to anything else but the agenda and narrative that they want their truth, so to say. And so just recently, John Kerry, yes, everybody loves John Kerry. He basically said the quiet part out loud, which I always find funny whenever they do that. He said the First Amendment is the problem, and we need to try and figure out a way to get around it. Check this out.
It's really hard to govern today. You can't, there's no, the referees we used to have to determine what's a fact and what isn't a fact, they've kind of, been eviscerated to a certain degree. And people go, and that people self-select where they go for their news or for their information. And then you just get into a vicious cycle. So it's really, really hard, much harder to build consensus today than at any time in the 45, 50 years I've been involved in this. And there's a lot of discussion now about how you curb those entities in order to guarantee that you're going to have, some accountability on facts, et cetera. But look, if people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick and, has an agenda and they're putting out disinformation, our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just, hammer it out of existence. So what we need is to win the ground, win the right to govern by hopefully having, winning enough votes that you're free to be able to implement change.
Yeah, the First Amendment is a block for them to go out and hammer out the people that they don't like. He did say something that's true, though, which I know a lot of people are like, oh, how could you? Well, these people sometimes do say something true. He said, if many people will go to one source for their information, and if that source is sick, then they don't have the truth or the right information of what's going on. I agree with that. I agree with that on many different levels. The problem is how he means it is they want to be the one source of truth, even though what they're saying is sick, but they don't want to admit that. So they want to get rid of everybody, so you go to that source. That's what he means. But how I look at it and go, okay, if people do go to one source, and I know many people, even in the prophecy community, that go to one source or two sources. Where do you get your information from? I don't know, Gateway Pundit. You know how many times I've seen bad information on Gateway Pundit? They don't go anywhere else. I get my information from Gateway Pundit. I trust them. Why do you trust them? Because they say what what they say aligns with what I believe. How does that make it true? It doesn't. It just fits your own bias. I see people, oh, where do you get your information from? Tucker Carlson. Okay. The guy who's connected to the CIA, who is now fully wrapped up in Trump's campaign, who is a Hitler apologist. There's no way he's got bad information, right? Where do you get your information from? Natural News. Oh, Mike Adams. Yeah, the sensationalist clown who's an anti-Semite who tried to step into the world of preaching the Bible, who really can't get anything right. I've proven him wrong more times than I can count. See, that's the problem, is we have people even in this community that go to 1, 2, or 3 sources based solely on the fact of what they say aligns with what they believe. And it's the same thing on the left too. You get people, CNN, MSNBC, that type of stuff as well. And it's like, we'll point to them and go, no, you can't do that. All the while we refuse to believe that it's going on in our own circle. And I've often talked about this. I've often talked about this. Deception is not the easy stuff that we can see outside of our own circle and point and go, oh, that's deception. That's not deception, even though that's what everybody thinks it is. Deception is best used in your own camp when you don't realize that it's actually being used against you. And there's a lot of people that can't come to that conclusion. And so I do agree with him on that. If you go to 1 source, 2 sources, 3 sources, and they're all, sick, as he said, or just wrong, or have an agenda, then you're not going to be fully informed. And so that's definitely something that I've noticed when it comes to that. I think a lot of it, and I hear people, it's like, I don't have time to go and scour and research and put things together and stuff. I get it. That's why I try to be a middleman, even though I still say, fact check me, check everything I say, go do the research on your own. Don't take my word for it. I always tell people that. But at the same time, a very dangerous way of doing it is just picking 2 or 3 sources and basing your entire knowledge of what's going on whatever their article says. You can't trust that. You just can't do it. You gotta throw in the work or something. I don't know. Again, there's people out there that don't have time. I get it, but still, just saying on that. Okay, one last thing, and then we'll hammer out the rest of these questions because there's still a bunch of questions in here, and then we'll end it. We're already past time. I apologize. So let's just go ahead and finish this off. We're going to take a trip. I don't know why I'm speaking Canadian when we're going over to Germany, I'm a Canadian German, I guess. Anyways, so basically Germany, there's something interesting about this. As a Citizens Council, Forum Against Fakes hands over reports to Federal Minister Faeser. I'm not sure how to pronounce that in German. I'm sure there's somebody German in the chat that'll say, this is how you pronounce it. But yeah, the new Federal Minister Faeser, whatever. Okay, so we can see here, a German Citizens Council has submitted recommendations to the German Ministry of the Interior calling, among other things, for potential criminalization of disinformation. The council was assembled by the Bertelsmann Foundation. If you guys don't know, Bertelsmann Foundation is actually connected to one of the biggest book publishers in the world. I think it has Penguin in the name. That's the only reason why I remember, because I think it has Penguin in there. But Bertelsmann Foundation, Germany's most influential public policy think tank, in partnership with the Ministry of the Interior itself, and it's tasked with formulating recommendations on how to best combat disinformation. The project as a whole, known as Forum Against Fakes, included both a council of 120 German citizens, ostensibly selected to represent the diversity of German society, and an online survey. The Citizens Report, which was handed over to Minister of the Interior Nancy Faeser on September 12th, includes a recommendation titled Consideration of Criminal Prosecution and or Penalizing for the Dissemination of Disinformation. The German government would consider whether criminal prosecution or other types of penalties are possible based on the definition of disinformation. The justification of the proposed measure includes preserving freedom of speech is more important to us. I doubt it. Nevertheless, the creation and dissemination of disinformation has to be deterred and the perpetrator's sense of wrongdoing heightened. Okay, now this is where we get to something interesting. That we got an idea of what this is, but this is the interesting part of this, because this is something that I believe that we are going to see very, very soon start going into our territory in the United States, and of course across Europe. We understand what they're doing with censorship and whatnot, but we're going to see a spread of this, and I think this is key. It says the Citizen Council also recommends supplementing the EU's Digital Services Act, the centerpiece of the EU's efforts to suppress disinformation, with a new law which would require very large online platforms to reserve 1% of their global turnover for the purpose of combating disinformation. Among others, Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Amazon, and Wikipedia have been designated as those very large online platforms by the European Commission. Page 22 says the online platforms must use 50% of this budget to ensure that once a month, here we go, once a month, every user is shown a post explaining disinformation, which works like a timed ad. The post must be viewed for a certain amount of time and only then can be closed. Okay, this is something interesting that I think we will see very, very quickly. In order to access any of these social media platforms, they're going to be forced to show you something that's going to pop up and lock you out unless you read or prove that you've read a piece of indoctrinating information to try and mold your mind into disinformation and censorship and whatnot. Now, they're talking about a timed ad where it'll pop up for a certain amount of time. I think it's going to get to a point where in order to access it, you have to prove in some type of way that you actually read it and actually answer in the way that they want you to. Like a lot of companies are starting to make employees do the DEI tests now. They have to go through training, non-hate training in order to keep your job. I think this is where we're going with this. This is a very interesting thing that they're pushing on this. It says the remaining 50% of the budget is to be contributed to an independent agency for financing campaigns against information. So your fact checker propaganda groups, which is discussed elsewhere in the document. Furthermore, the relevant section proposes the formulation of minimum legal requirements, which oblige the platforms to program their algorithms in such a way that possible disinformation is not disseminated and not recommended to users, which we've already seen that this has been happening with Facebook, even Twitter. Right now, even though Elon Musk, Mr. Free Speech, he's doing it as well, where information is getting pushed, shadow banned, not seen. And so going so far, if you are a repeated violator of sharing this information, they're even silencing all of your postings from your own friends list. And so friends actually have to go to your profile and even in order to even see your postings. So this is stuff that has been already happening that they're pushing forward. So I think that's very fascinating that they're getting into that. If you want to participate, you have to prove that you went through our training or censorship training or DEI training, whatever it is in that regard. So very interesting. Okay, let's see here. Let's finish off with these questions here. Machine Gun Kelly, question. What is your prediction on the possibility of civil unrest after the election? I don't really have a prediction, man. We don't know if we're even going to have one. We don't know what's going to happen with it. Things are so up in the air. I'm not somebody that wants to really try and come up with different scenarios, because there's something that people I think need to understand when it comes to these things is the Luciferians, their agenda, they don't just make one specific plan and move forward in that direction because there's too many variables that can change things. They make They set themselves up so they have many different avenues. So if something goes in one direction, they can go to that plan and they're still on track. And same if something goes in another direction, they can do that. So again, this is one of those things where it's like I'd just be throwing a dart at a dartboard when it comes to this. So there's many different outcomes to it. So I don't really have a prediction of a possibility. Civil unrest we know is coming, but in what way, the timing of it, in what type of form it's coming, not sure. But we know it's coming. We know it's coming. Annette Hamilton, ever heard of Glenn Beck's organization? Yeah, that helps in time of need and stuff. I don't trust Glenn Beck further than I can look past my hand. I've seen some very interesting. This was a while ago when he started that program. I don't even want to say the program. But yeah, no, there's some stuff that I saw that I was sitting there going, this isn't good. Something's off about this. I don't trust Glenn Beck on any of that stuff. I believe Glenn Beck is fully controlled opposition, if anybody knows me. Asset Ministry question. Why can't you keep up with the 500 question askers? You see me after class, Asset. Just playing with you. Let's see here. Tracy Donovan. Do you think all these manufactured storms are a way to hurt us in the designated areas? Here in Florida, we are having to leave because of financial devastation due to them. It's possible. It's possible. I think there's different reasons for these things. I can't, again, this is one of those things where I can't necessarily narrow it down to one specific reason. I think there's various reasons for it. Something else to keep in mind that is interesting, if you want to take this even further, is one of the aspects to Project Bluebeam actually has to do with creating or utilizing, they use the word utilizing, but creating natural events, natural disasters to unearth artifacts, religious artifacts, or historical things which will help unite religions and faiths together. So I think that's one avenue of what we see. They talk about how that's happened in the Middle East several times, where they've used these things in order to combine to unite religions together for this stuff. Could there be property that they want? Could there be something, a mineral or a resource that they want? Could they be trying to get people to move in certain directions and corral them? I think these are all possible explanations and reasonings for these things. Can we narrow it down to one specific one? I don't think we can. So yeah, I think there's various reasons for it. Probably some that we don't even realize. Sometimes it could just be a test. They're not actually trying to do anything, but just test the power of something that they're doing. And that's the outcome that came from it. So again, I think there's different things when it comes to that. Rosalie Dent, if the mail service is down in the worst hit places, how will donations reach them directly? Now I see you guys in the chat saying 15-minute cities. I get that, but again, all these events happening are not just for 15-minute cities. That's what I mean. We can't narrow it down to one specific thing. So again, I often get that all the time when people ask questions or I talk about something and I get comments afterwards or something and I say, well, it was for this reason or it was for that reason. And I can sit there and give you 5 other reasons besides that one for why that thing is unfolding. It's, again, there are more than just one specific reason. Like there's still people out there saying 2020 was specifically just to get the jab into people. There was so many more reasons for it. Again, through the several years that I've talked about this, I have given at least 15 different other reasons for 2020 that all play a part in that one specific event. So yes, while 15-minute cities may be, we don't know for sure, but may be an effect of it, there are many other reasons for these events as well. So again, don't narrow yourself down to one specific thing. If there's nothing else that you hear from me tonight, hear this. Don't narrow yourself down to one specific reason. especially since we can't factually prove that that's the specific reason that's going on. Because the moment that we do that, we shut ourselves off from any other possibilities, and we've now restricted ourselves on our information that we can take in. And so don't do that. Definitely don't do that. Okay. If mail service is down in worst hit places, how will donations reach them directly? Are you, I'm not sure the question. Because usually if you're mailing donations for these places, it's going to an organization that's outside that then uses it to bring stuff to them. So if the organization is in the path of these things, then they probably have some other place that they can receive donations or mail or something. If that's not your question, Rosalie, I apologize, but I think that's what you were referencing. I'm not sure. Vindog, is that a laser lightsaber in the background? No, it's not a lightsaber. It's just some light strips, LED light strips. I'm not into Star Wars or anything like that. Question, could you give us a tour of your studio sometime so we can see what all those interesting objects back there are? We don't know about our Paul Sasha. What honestly, really what you're seeing is what it is. There's not much there. Got a couple crosses and a clock. Got some books. No, I'm trying to do it backwards. Books. Those are Kraken bookends, and then I've got three different whatchamacallits, DeLoreans from Back to the Future. I got one from Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3, and the license plates from 1 and 2. And then I've got a katana and some statues and of course Sasha back there, and a plant. I mean, there's really not much to it. That's all it is. I'm just kind of in a studio apartment. I just have my bed right over there, and that's it. So there's really not much else to show. KG, Saved by Faith question. Can you tell me the book, chapter, and verse that says the AC has to be charismatic and everybody likes him? He causes them to take and fear them. I'm not one that can just pull stuff off the top of my head, but ultimately we get the charismatic stuff from him being silver-tongued. He's a smooth talker. He's an egotistical talker, but a smooth talker at the same time. And usually whenever you see that type of characteristic within somebody, there's somebody that they're able to get people to like them. And so we just naturally apply that to the charismatic ability of the Antichrist. So it's there. I don't have it off the top of my head. I'd actually have to look into it. I'm not somebody that's able to just pull stuff off like that. But yeah, so let's see here. Patrick Starr, how much of World War III do you think we might see before the rapture? I don't think we're going to see World War III before the rapture. We're seeing the precursors of it, but I don't think we're actually going to see World War III while we're here. That's going to be a world-changing event. I think the global financial system is going to go along with it, and I hold to Matthew 24, days of Noah. It's going to be everyday life until the rapture happens, and then the sudden flood will come. And so I don't believe that we're actually going to see that unfold while we're here. Jeffrey, man, that's an interesting one. Jeffrey Crone, do you think that the Antichrist will be a Nephilim fathered by Satan or another fallen angel that copied Jesus's lineage? Bro, that's above my pay grade. Can't help you with that one. I'm one of those people that I will sit here, and if I don't know, I don't know, and I'm not going to stick my foot in my mouth and give you just a halfway answer. So that's one that I don't know, man. I always claim not to be a Bible teacher. That's not my area. That's why I don't specifically indulge in teaching Bible stuff. I have specific things that I'll reference to. But yeah, I'm definitely not a teacher when it comes to that. Let's see here. Annette Hamilton, can you pass along the information? Yeah, I addressed that with Glenn Beck already. Am I missing anything else here? So many questions. I'm trying to make sure I get this stuff. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to make sure I'm seeing these here. I think I got them all. Think so. Except, of course, the last one. The last one. Richard Ropiak asks people in Israel whether or not we are seeing World War III. I'm sure that they wouldn't tell you it's World War III either. There's a guy on Steve, just on Brett Medder's prophecy thing. This is just normal life for people in Israel. This is normal life for people in Israel. So yeah, that's not World War III with what's happening over in the Middle East. It's preparation. It's getting it's stepping stone towards World War III, but that it in itself is not World War III, and that is something that Israel has been going through for a very long time. So yeah. So I see what you were hinting at, but again, that's not World War III for them. If I missed your question, I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time trying to. I don't know. There's just so many questions tonight, guys. I'm not used to having this many, so if I missed it, I apologize. I didn't mean to. So let's go with the last one here. From the Peanut Gallery, Stephanie. Always got to finish off with this on this. So, Stephanie, question: why do you give your 2 cents worth when it's only a penny for your thoughts? Because sometimes your 2 cents is your opinion, which requires 2 thoughts. So you have 2 thoughts to form your 2 cents. That's how it goes on that. So, all right, guys. That's all we got for that. Again, I apologize if I missed your question. I don't mean to. It's just there's a lot, and I think I got them all. So, all right. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna end with the good news, the best part, the gospel of Jesus Christ. And all this stuff that we talk about and everything like that means nothing in the end if we don't have Jesus Christ. And so he gives out his gift of salvation freely to anybody who chooses it. Who chooses it. He took on the sins of the world so that everybody has the option to choose him. And ultimately, that's what he wants. He wants us to choose him. He wants us to choose life. He wants us to choose salvation that only he can give. And so his gospel is as simple as ABC. A is you admit that you're a sinner. The act of repentance, of turning from self to Jesus, is one that is so key, because how can we truly believe in Jesus Christ if we don't understand why we need Jesus Christ? We must come to the understanding that we are sinners and we all fall short, and only Jesus Christ alone can save us. So we repent of our sins, and that allows us to believe in Jesus Christ. We believe that Jesus Christ is the one and only begotten Son of God, that he came down 100% man, 100% God, the God-man, and lived the perfect sinless life. The only one to do so, which means he was the only one qualified to take the sins of the world upon his shoulders and to die in our place. He took our place upon that cross, for we all deserve death. But he took that place so we may have the option to choose life through him. And so he died upon that cross. He was crucified upon that cross. But because there's power in the blood of Jesus Christ, just as he said he would, just as he prophesied, just as he promised, he defeated death and rose again on the 3rd day. For all who believe in him shall not perish, but live forever in his presence and in his glory. So we repent and we believe and see as we call upon the Lord. Just a simple prayer of, Lord Jesus, I am a sinner and I have sinned and I need you alone to save me. Lord Jesus, I believe that you are the one and only begotten Son of God, that you came down and lived the perfect sinless life, that you died upon the cross, and that you rose again on the 3rd day. Lord Jesus, come into my life, come into my heart and save me. Forgive me of my sins. Amen. Now keep in mind, remember, saying those words and knowing the story does not mean that you are saved. We must have a true understanding. We must truly believe in Jesus Christ. And we must place our trust in him. Everybody knows the story. Everybody knows the story. But that doesn't mean that they're saved. We must truly believe. Knowing and believing are two different things. All right, guys, that is all I got. We went way over time tonight. I apologize for that. You guys were just going nuts with the questions tonight. So, yeah, usual spiel. If you guys can, like, share, subscribe. Get this out to as many people as you can. It's not about views, not about butts and seats, but it is about getting the warning out to people, getting people to Jesus. So if you guys can do me a solid and like, share, subscribe, it does help reach those who are lost, have questions, and ultimately need the gospel of Jesus Christ. Also, make sure you guys follow me, Rumble, Odyssey, Telegram. Those are my backup channels. We're live streaming, multicasting to YouTube, Rumble, and the website all at the same time. But if I get booted off YouTube, we'll be back up live streaming on Rumble. So make sure you guys follow me there. Odyssey is an emergency platform there just in case, if things get really, really bad, we have a backup platform. So if you have an account, you might as well follow me there. And then Telegram, I post updates, announcements, news, things, and anything in between on there. So if you want to keep up to date what's going on with things that aren't necessarily good for video format or anything like that, I just kind of throw it on Telegram. Of course, we got the WretchedWatchmen.com website. It is up and running. So make sure you guys bookmark that page. That's the place that I'll make sure that I updates of anything going on. Like if I'm taking a break or something and I announce it or something like that, I will make sure that I update the website. So that's the best place to do that. And then make sure you guys tune in on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. We got Mondo Gonzalez coming on. He'll be joining me talking about the genetic codes of the days of Noah, talking about Genesis 6, Matthew 24, Daniel, and all that stuff, what's going on with altering humans and genes and technology and all that type of stuff. So it's going to be a really, really good one. So make sure you guys tune in on Tuesday for that. And then that's it for that, I think. Yeah. So if you guys would like to support this channel and what I do, I've got donation links down below, CashApp, Venmo, and GiveSendGo. So yeah, this channel's not monetized. I don't make anything from ads or views or anything like that. So if you guys would like to support me and allow me to keep doing what I'm doing, keep my lightsaber lights going. Sorry. We'll throw over the VIN for that one. Then those donation links are below. So thank you guys for your support and your generous hearts and everything like that. I truly appreciate it. I just every day I thank the Lord for being able to do what I do. And I don't take it for granted. So thank you guys, because you guys are the ones that allow me to do it. So thank you. And then one last thing, Harpazzo clothing. I don't make anything from this. I'm just hooking a brother up with Toby. He hooks me up and I want to hook him up. New design dropping next week. So make sure you guys check that out on that. So yeah, that's all I got. So tomorrow's Sunday. Get your heathenic booties to church tomorrow. And Lord willing, I'll see you guys Tuesday. Peace out. Maranatha.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.